Hey everyone, it's Natalie with Homeschool Natalie Mack. I hope that you are having a good day. I would love to talk a little bit about a topic that I get asked frequently from homeschooling moms who just want to make the right decisions. They really want to make sure that they are getting this high school correct. So when you jump in, say hello. And if you're catching the replay, just let me know that you caught the replay if you have any questions. And we're going to talk just for a minute. Okay. So this is something many homeschool parents wrestle with is it's like I said, especially during high school. Like how much is too much? And there's no one answer for that. Like literally no one answer. Out of our five kids, all with unique personalities, all with different passions and interests, different capacity, it was different for each one, right? And so I always was balancing me as my personality as the mom, who is, as you may already know, extremely introverted, but I am good with my introverted friends and fellow homeschool moms, and I enjoy some downtime myself. I don't have to be around people, but I am extroverted rather, but I struggled and kind of like trying to get the balance, if that makes sense. And I finally realized I'm not probably going to ever get it perfectly correct. So that's what I kind of want to talk about with you is that it's normal to try to figure it out. It's normal to want to know, like, what is too much for my kid. And again, it's going to vary. If you have more than one child, like we have, it varied from child to child. And I know some of the things that always I was thinking about, and some of the things that I think you might be thinking about as a homeschool mom with a high schooler, trying to figure out how much is too much for my teen. You want your teen to be prepared. So that's honest, that's solid, and that's pretty common. You want your teen to potentially be competitive, meaning like to do well against their peers, if that makes sense, right? For college admissions or wherever they are going next. And I think most parents want their kids to have options, right? So none of those are too bad. But it can be difficult to figure out, wow, if all of those are good and all of those are things that I'm concerned about, and all of those are common concerns that many homeschool parents have about their high school teens, then like, how do I figure it out? Like, how much is too much? How can we figure out? How can we well prepare, right? And then that doesn't turn into this thing called overwhelmed. And our culture is talking about, oh, stress and overwhelmed and cortisol, right? And, adrenal fatigue and all these things. And I think that, not a scientist, not a doctor, I think those are pretty valid concerns. So we need to figure out though, because we're not living in the fear of those things, right? We're not living in the fear of overwhelm, but we definitely want to be preventive, and we want to figure out what that looks like. So that's kind of like what I want to talk about for a few more minutes today. So hopefully you're joining me, hanging out. You can share this. It's a public live. I appreciate your support, tagging friends, family, sharing it out into, your with your homeschool besties, your community and everything. Because I think this is a discussion we all can benefit from, and a question that we all tend to have: how much is too much for our homeschool teen? So uh, it can feel like, in the way things are, and the way our society is, and this whole focus on getting it right, and like high school is that next like launching destination, right? This launching platform rather, into the great wide, beyond of college and everything. Like, what does it look like, right? And so um you know, you can try to you may be trying to figure out, like, with all of that, is dual enrollment. Like, what is dual enrollment? Well, I've talked about that, and you can jump in my boot camp that I'm offering now and find out more. AP level rigor, what does that look like? Extracurriculars, oh my gosh, there's so many things. How do we do all that, right? You're the taxi and the homeschool mom and the guidance counselor in high school. Yep, if you feel that way, I high five to you, because that is the real life, right? Leadership roles, helping our kids understand that. Part time job, right? Test prep, all the things. Like, how do we fit that all in? And then time to breathe so that they can figure out their future, so they can answer the relatives at the family reunion or the people in church who are like, oh, Where are you going next? What are you doing, right? And deer in the headlights of like, oh, I don't know. And you may feel the pressure as a mom, right? The teen and you. And so that's a full adult schedule, balancing all of those potentially. So, as we're talking through this, if we try to stack everything in all at once, then, you know, in an effort to build excellence, right? In an effort to be well prepared, in an effort for our child to have what they need to do well to go to that next destination. It's honest. It's fine. We care as homeschool parents, right? But sometimes that might not create that goal of excellence and all that we're seeking, that we're pursuing. It can create exhaustion as well. And that's what we don't want. Exhaustion with you as the parent and exhaustion with the actual teen, and maybe some trickle down exhaustion to the rest of the family. So, what are some warning signs about too much, right? And I've talked about this. I did a workshop that's available here, and it's in my Let's Get Homeschooling Done Facebook group. If you're not in the group, drop the word group so we know to add you in. If you're interested in going deeper into this whole high school decisions, I do have that boot camp. Drop the word boot camp. We can send you the link to the boot camp. We would love to have you involved with our boot camp that's ongoing now. And you won't be behind because the replays are available. But what are the warning signs of too much, right? How do you know when your teen has crossed that line? A couple of things, right? And not all of these would show up in any one person, but maybe one or two of them will. So they are constantly behind, no matter how hard they work. They're constantly working and getting school done, and they are still behind. Or things they used to enjoy, they just no longer want to do it. They're just really struggling. No, 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 I don't want to do it, right? And you're pondering, like, what's going on? They always love to do these things, or they're more irritable, or they're more shut down, right? And they just don't want to be bothered. Now, teens, right, sometimes just kind of hang out in their room. So you got to be able to differentiate between just normal, hey, this is my room, this is my space. I just kind of like it in here, with being irritable and shut down. That's the difference. And then you may see some anxiety rising, confidence dropping, doubting themselves, maybe second guessing themselves, right? Or you just feel like they're just going through the motions and they have no real engagement. It's like they're just like, if they were a balloon and they would just deflate, right? That's not your child, right? And if you see any of those kinds of signs, that might be a sign of overload, especially if they have a heavy, heavy schedule with a lot of those things that I just mentioned, right? And none of those are bad. And with our kids, we were busy. We were busy with capital B, capital U, capital S, capital Y. We were really busy. And it worked for us, but we had to figure out like downtime and be open and perceptive to issues that one may have, right, struggling through something, and potential overload and overwhelm. And so what's the difference between rigor and overload? Because challenge is good. Challenge is part of life. We want our kids to take challenge and go, I can work through this, right? We want them to have the skills, the confidence, the capacity. So challenge is good. But in stretching your teen academically, that's good too, because that's part of life as well. Helping them build discipline, that's really good as well. So what's the difference though between rigor and overload? Rigor builds capacity, right? It builds capacity, which is what we want. That's a positive, but overload drains it. So there's a difference there, right? So rigor might be like, oh, this is challenging, but I'm growing, I'm developing, and I have the confidence I can figure this out and do fairly well, right? Overload, though, says something completely different. Overload says, I can't keep up and I'm shutting down. So, as parents, we have to really figure out and have to be wise enough to know the difference between rigor and overload. And then we have this thing about the myth, right, of the perfect transcript, right? I call it the myth of the perfect transcript, right? There is no award that is being given for the most overloaded transcript. Like, I see no awards. Oh, overloaded transcript people, come over here. We got an award for you. No awards, right? Colleges are not even looking for burnt out students who did everything halfway, who are already overloaded and overwhelmed before they enter into school. Colleges are looking for students who demonstrate consistency, depth in their studies through their transcript, initiative. They try the hard things, right? And then follow through. Even when things are rough, they follow through. But it's hard, right, to get all of those things in consistency, depth, initiative, and follow through if they're overloaded and overwhelmed, right? So, a student who does a few things well will almost always stand out more than the student who does everything with stress and inconsistency. I'll say that again. A student who does a few things well will almost always stand out more than a student who does everything with stress and inconsistency. So you might think, instead of asking, are we doing enough? You might shift the question to, is this sustainable? Like the pace, the rigor, all the things, right? Is this sustainable? Is my team growing or just surviving? We want them to grow. We want them to be in spots that with challenge, but it's sustainable, right? So, because high school is not just about getting through those 4 years, you're actually preparing them for what comes next. Hold on one second. You're actually preparing them for what comes next: college, career, or military pathways. 1 minute. And those pathways are where they will need not just knowledge, right? They're going to need resilience, they're going to need time management, and they're going to need self awareness for when overload is coming, when they've overbooked their schedule. They're not operating at capacity, right? We all do it. And it's good for them to learn it in high school under your homeschool, family life. So think about maybe a way to like look at your team's load, right, as you prepare, as you finish out this year. For those who do not school year round, as you finish out this year and you look towards the next homeschool year, right? Look at making sure, yes, the core academics, I call them the 5 C's, right? The math, the language arts, the science, the social science, and foreign language, the 5 C's. So you want those, right? And you want to show progression. We talk about all this in the boot camp. So pop in the boot camp, y'all. 1 to 2 meaningful extracurriculars, right? And then some margin for rest and family life. I know I'm the one talking about rest, but family life. We homeschool, and family life is one of the beauties of homeschooling, like bonding and time together, right? And so let's not miss out on the family life and the rest time, right? And the family bonding, because we're so intense, so bent, so tight, so type A, that they got to get everything done. That whole list I talked about at the beginning, with extracurriculars, courses, leadership, jobs, everything, all great things, right? But the teen is just barely hanging on, and you're not in a great spot as a homeschool parent, and the family is struggling because mom is the thermometer, right? We are the thermometer. We are the thermometer. We are the thermostat. We are all that, right? So not everything has to happen in 1 year, right? So just know that. And homeschooling gives you flexibility over time. So you can spread things out, you can pivot, you can adjust. And that is a gift that you have for homeschooling. So don't override that gift by trying to do everything at once. Help your teen understand that too, because they're going to need to know how to say no to some things when they get in college, right? It's a learned skill to be able to say no to really good possible opportunities. So let me leave you with this. Your goal is not to raise a teenager who can handle an overwhelming load. Your goal is to raise a young adult who knows how to manage their time, how to recognize their limits, because we got limits, y'all, how to pursue excellence without losing themselves, right? That's the goal I think that I would recommend. Success is not measured by how much they carried, like how much of a weight, all those things that they carried. That's not a measurement for success, right? Success is how well they were prepared for the life that they're going to step into, right? The life that they are being launched into. So if you're feeling pressure today to add just one more thing, pause a minute, pause, evaluate, and remember, more is not always better. Better is better. So hopefully this helped. Again, make sure if you want to join in my Let's Get Homeschooling Done Facebook group, pop the word group in the comments. And I would love to see you in the boot camp. And we have the website, my Natalie Mack, MACK.com, has so many freebies on it, as well as amazing blogs. So I'm here to help you. Again, we homeschooled 23 years. Our five were all launched to college. That's where they wanted to go, and we wanted them to go there too. But it was also a decision that we made with them. So I'm here to serve, and I love to do what I'm doing. And I believe in you. I believe in you. I believe in your teams, and I want success for you all for the way it looks for your family, right? And that's gonna be different for every family. So I'm here to serve. If you need a one-on-one consultation, I offer that too. So pop into my website, all right? So you can sign up for the boot camp there, the one-on-one consultations, all the things. All right. All right. Look forward to chatting with you again. I should be back doing another live on Monday at 3 o'clock is my time frame that I'm shooting for. All the best.